Good afternoon, everyone. Today in this video, we'll be seeing how to make a wall box of an air valve assembly. We are only making the one part, as you can see on the screen. This is actually an assembly drawing. It has all the components, as you can see. But since we are working only on one component, which is the wall box, you can see that the drawing is divided into two different sheets. This is the second sheet, this is the first sheet. There are multiple views provided to us to begin making this model. Let me try to show it to you in a better way. This is your first page, this is your second page. In the first page, they have given you the details about the internal features and how it looks like and the top view. There is also a front section again shown to you for a better understanding of what's on the inside of the cylindrical cut here, which is again shown in a detailed manner. Whereas in the sheet 2, as you can see, there is a section cut at the top to show you the cut of this particular feature which is inside, and you can see the internal features of the holes, slanted holes, normal holes, as well as the details of the internal cut here. So let's try to begin making this model. We'll be working on part modeling only, since it's a part modeling exercise. So under start mechanical design, we'll be working on part design. We are working on CATIA at the moment. You can find the pretty much same drawing in the machine drawing book as well. Just the wall box, let us begin by making this, considering this as my 0, 0, because a lot of dimensions given with respect to this feature on that side as well as on the bottom side. So first let's try to do that. The shape of this is actually this, the three circles which are in tangential lines. So let's try to make that by selecting the top view. I'm taking the top view. We can make three circles and do it, or you can obviously try to make it directly by using arcs as well. Circles are a little more easier. This dimension is 84, so let me try to give that as 84. Similarly, there are two smaller circles here, which is of 35. You can see it's written here as 35. The outer one is what the bigger one is what I'm trying to make. So this is supposed to be 35. Now I can mirror this onto the opposite side because it's of the same shape. The only important thing is the distance between these two, which is given as 212, which is this center to this center is 212. So I am taking the distance from here to here to be 212. Now see, we know that there are bitangent lines in our Sketcher module. I have already made a video on a complete Sketcher tutorial. You can also go through that playlist. And then let us start trimming whatever is not necessary. If you can make it with arcs in a quicker manner, it's a better idea, of course. This shape is particularly added only up to 50, as you can see here. So let me try to take that as 50. Now, there is a shape on the top as well as on the bottom. So whichever we prefer, we'd like to make first, we'll do that. Now I'd like to make the bottom first because it's a little more complicated, as you can see. So let me try to make that. Okay. Let's try to make this bottom one. Since they're all cylindrical, we can directly use shaft command and start working on it. This is the front view. I would require the axis, so I'm just directly taking the center axis of this, so it will be a little more easier to work on. And this is another reference for us. Now, to begin making the same shape, let's try to take from the top. I do have a bigger diameter there and then a smaller one here, which is pretty much going like this and then this way and goes to the end. This is the actual shape. So we'll start dimensioning one after the other slowly. We do know that this is 9 and the distances between this and this is 3. So let's try to give the distance between this and this as 3. Similarly, we do know that the distance between this and this is also 3. So let's try to give that as 3 as well. Now when you go down, the distance from here to here is 10, whereas this is 15. So let's try to take this as 10 first. And then give this as 15. The overall distance, as you can see, is 165 from here. So when I give you the overall distance from this till the end, it's supposed to be 165. Now we can start giving our dimensions one after the other. This is supposed to be 125, as you can see. And while coming till here, this is supposed to be 3, and this dimension is also supposed to be 3 with respect to this. So let's try to give this as 3 as well. And the overall length of this one is 25. So let's try to give the length of this is 25. Now it will automatically create a revolve. Since it's a closed sketch, you can see it creates a shaft and creates a cylinder for us like this. Now, similarly, there is the same cylinder on the top, as you can see, with 135. So let's try to make that as well. We can either give 135 dia, or you can follow with the same thing. Let me try to give 135 dia. We can maintain the dimension as well that way. And the height is actually 168. 168. This is just the trickiest part in actually while making the wall box is the shape. So before that, let's try to add this and then slowly get onto this, because there's a reference standing on this. So I'd like to make this shape. As you can see, this shape is also like the previous one, like how we made it, but it starts at a distance of 3 from here towards the other side of the body. So I'll just give that as 3 and then work on that particular plane. This is the reference plane. Now, since we already know the center reference, so when I take the center reference, I'd like to maintain concentricity with respect to the actual body which is left. This is supposed to be 73. And then maintain concentricity with any arc, it will maintain to the center. Now, we do have two other which is of 20. Let's try to take the circles as well. You again, if you're comfortable with doing an arc, you can. All you have to do is maintain concentricity, you have to make a mirror feature over here and then maintain the dimensions. We try to take mirror with respect to this plane. Now, we do know that the dimensions between these two is 175. So let's try to give this as 175. And then now try to use your bitangent lines. I'm missing out on the sketch, so let me try to do it a little more in a 3D manner. Now let's try to go back to the normal view and start trimming off the unnecessary features. Now add this again till where? This should be, it is supposed to be added in this direction, we know, but it is supposed to be added only till 20. So let me try to give that and change this to 20. So you can see the addition of material. Now, to make this particular feature, as you can see, there are a lot of references involved. When I go into the next page, you can see there are a lot of references like 90, 140, the 25, 15 degrees angle, 118, all these are involved. So to maintain the exact dimensions, I'd like to use references via my sketch. The references can be used by using your sketch and placing points. So using this, I do know that the distance from the center is actually 118. Lucky me, just got the exact dimensions for some reason. Now, in tangent line with this, I am trying to take a reference plane. I am trying to make the shape till here, and later I will cut this portion so I can get the required shape. These are only used for my reference purposes. And the dimension for this is actually 25. So let's try to dimension that as well. Now, we do know that there are 2 points. I'm not using, I'm keeping normal points, and then I'm trying to place another point as well in a construction format. Let me try to take it to on this center, and then I'm trying to mirror this point with respect to this plane. These two ends are the 90, which are the points. So I'm trying to take these two ends as 90 and keep it as 90. and we know that the distance to this from this base is 140. So let's try to take this as 140. This is my reference sketch. The sketch as in which goes like this, and then later I'd remove this portion, some of this area, and then try to get the shape. This shape actually I'd like to show you how the shape would look like over here. Now I have taken the rectangle till the end of the circle, which is maintaining tangency at the moment. This is my reference. On this, I'd like to start working on my sketches. So while adding the material, I would require a plane here. So I'd like to take a plane. I'm saying it has to be reference, parallel through a point. This is my reference, this is my point. On this, I'd like to make the addition of material to achieve this shape. So while doing this, I cannot maintain the angle while doing this. So I'll use the draft command later, but I'll be using these as my references to work on the sketch what I'm trying to make. So I do not repeat the dimensions again and again. So I'd like to make a rectangle starting from here, ending over there. Let me see if it's coincident. It's not. Let me try to coincide it over here. Now, the overall height of this, the overall distance of this is actually 50 plus 21 plus 21. So that way, if you want to maintain 50 plus 21 plus 21, you can, or you can also maintain the dimensions in a perfect manner. This is your dimension. Now you can actually maintain symmetry and then try to constrain the profile. This will be added up to the next phase. It can find. Now, as I've already mentioned, the sketch I have taken is actually in tangent with this. So I'll remove the little area after I take the draft. We can use the draft command. I want to use draft on this face. As you can see, the draft is shown over here, which is 15 on this face, with respect to the neutral element, which is this face. And I want the draft to be 15 degrees, so you can take it as 15 degrees. This is your actual draft. Now, to start removing the material of this to achieve the shape, we can use pocket to, since it is tangent, let me try to actually remove a certain amount. Let me try to remove only a certain amount from here. I'll be using these two as my references. And I'll be removing only some portion of it. So if I start from here, I'll be removing only up to 6 or so. If you subtract, you will get that particular dimension only. If you subtract the 25 and the additional 6 whatever we have taken here, so you'll get 6. So I'd like to remove that particular area through the next. Now it does not maintain tangent anymore. You can see it in the front view. This is my tangency. It does not maintain the tangency anymore. You can start continuing with these features. Let me try to first remove whatever is necessary. So under the same pocket command, I have to remove this particular circle. So I'm trying to remove that circle as well. Throughout the body, you'll get the similar shape. And we need to remove this area as well from the top. So you can do that too. I'd like to use this face because the top is a slanted face. So let me try to use this to remove that particular area as well, considering this as my reference. And of course the cut is 50, which we have not maintained or had the dimension privilege to maintain earlier. Let me try to use the plane. This is 50, and obviously this is 6 as we have seen earlier, the 6th dimension which I have actually shown. It will cut through the body. I want it to be gone till the last, so it will cut through the last. Now you can add the circles later. As you can see, you do have a circle addition over here. You can add these circles now as well. They are supposed to be added up to 22. So I'll be using this face as my reference to add it up to 22. So I'll be using a simple pad command to add so. Before that, there is a cut inside which we are supposed to make. As you can see, the hollow cut. So before we'll make that hollow cut and then come back to making this cut. We have to remove a certain internal material from the inside. As you can see, the shape, it's supposed to go this way and then come back here. We are supposed to cut this complete portion off of the existing feature. This is 105, which is your internal 118. So to do so, obviously to cut an internal one, you can use your groove command. So I'm just trying to use groove using the front plane, and I do have all my references. So when I'm in a construction mode, I can select all my references, including the base and the top. So the material, the internal cut is actually being done till there. After doing so, we can start making the shapes. I do have a slant here first, and then a straight, and then goes to 100 till the end, if I'm not wrong. It's still 110 till here, and then 100 here. Let me try to close this. Okay, you can start giving your dimensions from the bottom or from the top. Since I have it at the top, I'll try to start from here. This is 100, as you can see. That is up to 22. The length is up to 22. Similarly, you do have this, which is actually up to 110. Now, when you go down, you do have other dimensions which you're supposed to mention as well. This is supposed to be 8. We do know the dimension again, which is this is 6, 105 and 118. So this particular inner one is 105, and this one is 118. Let me try to take it a little bit outside and try to give the dimension. And this distance is 6, which is already given. So let me try to take the distance from this point to here as 6. Now when you do the internal cut, it tries to remove the material of the inside portion, and you can see the complete hollow shape. So when I go back into your isometric view, when you take a section view, you will be able to see the internal cuts. Now, understanding this internal cut, now if you go back to your actual shape, you can see the internal cut here. So if you want to make that cut, we need to make this first and then start to work on the detailed view of the sketch. So to work on the detailed view of that sketch, again let's go back to create a pocket. We have to use the internal reference of the body. So I'm trying to use the internal reference of the body, which is the internal cut over here. And then going back to your normal view. Now let's try to make the profile. It has to be a little bit more inside. So when I make it, I need to maintain the offset and then try to work on it. So there is an offset of 12 from this edge and an offset from 12, offset of 12 from this edge, and another line. Okay. Now the distance of this from the center is 61.6. It's plus. I'm trying to add. So let's try to give it less than 120. Or let's try to give it as 115, and then try to join them together. I haven't taken to the edge. I have taken it from there, the end. So I have added the dimension, and then it has to cut a little bit inside. So you can just join these two here. This is your cut. So when I exit, it tries to cut the material. It shouldn't be cutting it to the last. It should cut to a certain extent, which is shown over here, 80. So I'll use a mirrored, I'll do mirrored event and do 40 when it cuts equal distance on both the sides. So when I go back into your section view and you try to see, you can see the cut. This is your internal cut. Later you can start adding the material, of course, but before that there is an internal feature which is actually added later, as you can see. This has this feature which is supposed to be added. This is actually added later at a distance. So when you want to do that particular thing, you first figure out where do you want to start the feature from. So this is starting at a distance from here, and you have to work on the feature. So to begin with, let's try to take the end of the face. It's starting from here, so I'd like to take a plane first. starting at a distance of 6 actually. So let me try to take a plane there at the opposite direction to around 6. On this, I'd like to make a sketch to add the material. So when I'm making it, I'd like to make sure that I'm in the top view first, and then I'd like to start making this feature. Now this feature should be in line with everything that is available in the internal face. So when I go back to your top view, you can see these, when I go back to the top view, you can see that these are my, I've used the wrong projection, these are my references. This is my particular reference. I have to make two lines which are provided over here. One this way, and similarly I have another line. I'll join the arcs later, no issues. We do know the distances between them. That is, the distance between these two is actually 8, and they are maintaining 12 from the center. That is, from this center they are maintaining 12. You can join them again using your arcs, no issues if you want. The first arc which joins from here to here. Similarly, I'll use the other arc. This in turn is actually added to a certain extent, which is of course 6 mm again. So this should be added to the body only up to 6 mm. This is your sheet. Using this as my reference, we are trying to make the internal feature, which is this, which they have given us a detailed view of. So let's try to use that and try to make the internal feature using my front plane. And I'm trying to use the top face of this as my reference. I can view it actually from the top. This is my reference. And in a construction mode. Of course, we require the axis, so naturally I'll be taking this as my axis. Now, starting from here, I do have a straight line, which is 6 again. Okay, it's in a construction. Let me just get back to normal. Again, I do have a straight line which is 6 again, and then goes this way, and then a little bit outside, and then up, and then this way, and then up, and then close. This is the actual shape of how it looks like. It's actually added on top of that particular base. So to do so, we have already done this. We need to maintain the dimensions. Since the dimensions are already given here, you can see that we are supposed to maintain 110 first. That is from here to here, it's supposed to be 110. This is supposed to be 18. I'll give the diameters in a bit. This is supposed to be 50. Now for these dimensions too, I do have the inner cuts. This one is actually 35. And the outer one, this one is 70. So we can give that as 70 as well. And as you can see, the inner cut over here is 60. So let's try to take that as 62. This is the dimension for the 60. This is your sketch. And we do know that the bottom portion is actually 40. So let me try to give that as 40 as well. I think this is not, this is already 40. So it's already constrained. Okay, this dimension is not constrained. This is supposed to be 6. So once I exit, it will add the material newly inside the body. I can show it to you by taking the section view once. Let me try to go into isometric view, zoom out and show it to you by taking the section view. It adds this way. There is again a support which is there in between this. As you can see, they have given us a support over here, which is at 203 point, which takes the exact shape of the feature. So you can directly use a stiffener command as a support to work. So it is easier to do it this way rather than making a sketch. But before that, I would require all the references of the existing body. So I'll be using the references of my internal body this way. This is your first reference, and I do have other references too. I can actually use a slicing view. This is better for me. This is another reference, and the top one is actually not required, but let us take the internal cut as the other reference. And of course we do require this bottom face as the reference, so we'll be using reference. Now we need to take a sketch to join these two. This is a very simple sketch, as you can see. I'm trying to make the exact sketch as you can see and join this. I want a support this way, which is completely constrained except for the height. This is actually not the midpoint except for the height. So let me try to give the height for the particular support. It's actually from here, which is the base, till here it is supposed to be 203.4. This is the support. Once I exit, it tries to create it. It's supposed to be, the thickness of this one is actually, thickness of this one is actually 12. Yeah, it's given here. It's actually 12. So let's try to take that as 12. So let me try to change this to 12. This is your support. When you go back again into your section view, you will be able to see the actual support. This is your support. Now, apart from this, there is nothing more complicated. Let us try to add these circles and now try to drill holes. There's one hole here, etc. So before that, we'll try to add the circle which we have actually stopped earlier. So I'm trying to add it on this face using the circle as my reference, and I'd like to add it till 22, which is the distance here. So I'll just try to give that as 22, and you can mirror this particular feature onto the other side, which is this feature. I can mirror it with respect to the center onto the other side. There are variation of holes in here, as you can see. This 43 and 38. I can actually use a groove command to do it or a slot command to do it, but I would prefer, multi-section solid remove to do it, but I would prefer groove. It's a little more easier, and since it's at the center, we can directly work on it by using these two as our references, and of course the axis will be a reference too. So when I use these two and the axis, it will be a little more easier for us to make the model and work on it. We do know that the dimensions are actually going from 43 to 38 this way. So I'd like to create the cut, internal cut. I have used groove command only, right? Yes, internal cut. So the top actually will give you 38 and the bottom is actually 43. So once I exit, it tries to cut the material from the inner side, as you can see. Again, this can be mirrored onto the opposite side. You can see the cut as well. There are holes which are given. This is 20. This says 25 through. So let me try to give this hole first, since we're already in that page. I'd like to give 25 through first, and then work on the remaining sketches, and then say up to last through the cut. And there are other holes in the same feature, which is this particular hole, which is on the top of this face. So when I'm trying to give it, I can directly select the face and maintain concentricity with the face and try to give the dimension. Here it has a weak cut on the top. So while giving the hole, I'd like to give a counter sunk one and then give the dimensions. So while giving the dimensions here, the internal is only shown and the external is 25. So instead of giving, I can give the diameter. Depth is not given, I can give the diameter. And this, let us say this is supposed to be 25. And the normal feature is 20 and up to last. So you'll get the countersunk hole there. There are other holes as well which are given over here, which is in the next sketch, I think, which is 2 into M16. So let me try to take that hole as well at this location, make the sketch, maintain concentricity. This also can be mirrored if I make 1, and this is a simple one. Thread definition, I can give M16 here. This is M16, and I'm saying it should be up to next and not up to last, so I'm giving it up to next. This can again be mirrored onto the opposite side. This is your final wall box model in your air valve assembly. We do have more models like this. If you are interested, you can subscribe to our channel. There are tutorials which we keep coming up. If you have any queries, please drop a comment in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about trainings or any advanced level of trainings, our details are given. You can contact us anytime. Meanwhile, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.